Everything you desire in life is already on its way to you. But there's a problem. You're blocking it with your own anxiety, fear, and desperation. Look around you. How many times have you noticed that the more you obsess over something, the further away it seems to get? It could be a goal, a relationship, an opportunity, and the harder you push, the more resistance you face. It's like trying to catch water with clenched hands. The Stoics understood a truth that many ignore. When you stop clinging, when you relax and trust the process, things begin to flow naturally. Anxiety is like a rock in the river of life. If you resist, the water crashes against it, creating turbulence. But if you let it pass, everything continues its course effortlessly. Epictetus said, "Do not seek for events to happen as you wish, but wish for events to happen as they do, and your life will flow." And here's the secret: no one tells you. It's not about giving up on what you want, but about learning to let go of the need and act with confidence. Today, I'm going to teach you how Stoicism can help you manifest what you desire without stress or obsession. I'll share principles that have stood the test of time and, when applied, will bring immediate changes to your life. Before we continue, I want you to do something right now. Comment the word flow if you're ready to release stress and allow life to surprise you. Let me know that you're here, committed to your growth. Also, if you want more content that transforms your mindset with Stoic principles, subscribe now and turn on the notifications. This channel is designed to help you develop an unbreakable mind and a balanced life. Now, let's begin. The problem with obsession and anxiety, one of the biggest enemies of manifestation and inner peace, is obsession. The more you cling to an idea, an outcome, or a person, the more you suffer. And the worst part, that same desperation pushes what you desire even further away. Imagine holding a rope and pulling it with all your strength. The harder you pull, the more tension you create. Anxiety is that tension. It's the fear of losing, the impatience of wanting something now, the frustration of things not going your way. But here's the paradox: that very anxiety makes you act desperately, blocking opportunities. The Stoics understood this over 2,000 years ago. Epictetus said, "If you desire something desperately, you become a slave to it. If you desire it with serenity, you remain free." Think about this. When you obsess over money, what happens? Instead of attracting it, you repel it because you act out of fear and scarcity. When you become obsessed with someone, what happens? You become anxious, insecure, and that energy drives them away. The same applies to any goal in life. But here's the key. It's not the desire that harms you, but the attachment to the outcome. There's nothing wrong with wanting things, improving your life, or achieving goals. The problem arises when you become dependent on that outcome to feel good. The Stoics teach us to get rid of anxiety by focusing on what we can control. Marcus Aurelius said, "Do what is in your power, but accept with calm what is beyond your control." So ask yourself, am I acting with confidence or with fear? Because fear is what creates blockages. Confidence and serenity are what allow everything to flow naturally. The solution isn't to want less, but to trust more in the process. And in the next points, I'll show you how to achieve this with Stoic techniques that will change the way you see life. The power of calmness and confidence. Calmness is not just the absence of stress, it's a powerful tool that transforms the way the world responds to you. Imagine being in the middle of a storm. The wind howls, the rain pours down, and the sky darkens. In this chaos, there are two types of people. One panics, runs aimlessly, and makes impulsive decisions, while the other remains firm, takes deep breaths, and patiently waits for the storm to pass. In life, most people act like the first type. They let anxiety, desperation, and fear take over. They worry about what they can't control, become impatient for immediate results, and seek external validation to feel at peace. But the Stoics knew that true strength lies in calmness. Marcus Aurelius said it clearly: "The power over the mind is the greatest power of all. If you control your mind, you control your life." Confidence is not about believing that everything will happen exactly as you wish, but knowing that, no matter what happens, you'll be okay. It's understanding that life has its own rhythm, that you can't force things, but you can prepare yourself to receive them at the right moment. Calmness is the bridge between your present and your desires. When you relax, you make better decisions, you become more attractive to opportunities, and you see things more clearly. Look at any truly successful person. They are not the most anxious or desperate ones. They are the ones who radiate tranquility, who don't let obstacles shake them, who trust in themselves and their ability to adapt. Epictetus explained it perfectly. It's not what happens to you that matters, but how you react to it. When you cultivate this mindset, everything changes. You no longer chase things because things start coming to you. Not because you're sitting around waiting for miracles, but because you become someone who attracts what they want through their attitude. Calmness and confidence are not passivity. They are the foundation of all effective action. Your mind creates your reality. Everything you experience in life does not come from the outside world, but from how your mind interprets it. Two people can go through the same situation and react completely differently. One may see it as an opportunity, while the other perceives it as an obstacle. The difference is not in the facts, but in perception. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. Epictetus made it clear, it is not things that disturb us, but our opinion of them. Your mind is the filter through which you experience reality. If your mindset is dominated by fear, scarcity, and insecurity, you will see problems everywhere. But if you cultivate a mindset of strength and clarity, you will start noticing opportunities where you once saw only limitations. Think about someone who always complains about their bad luck. They believe everything goes wrong for them, that the world is against them. That person reinforces that belief with every negative event and overlooks any positive aspect. It's not that they have worse luck than others, it's that their mind is trained to focus on the negative. Their reality is shaped by their perception. On the other hand, people who trust themselves and the process of life seem to attract better opportunities. Not because they are special, but because their minds are programmed to detect the positive, to see solutions instead of barriers. Your focus defines your reality. If you train your mind to see growth in every challenge, you will begin to live a completely different reality. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." If you want to transform your life, you must first transform the way you think. You cannot control every external circumstance, but you can control how you interpret them. The key lies in taking responsibility. Stop looking for external culprits and understand that the power has always been within your mind. Change your thoughts, and little by little, you will see how your outer world begins to align with that new perspective. Reality doesn't change first. You do, and the world responds to that transformation. The Stoic secret to manifesting without effort. Most people believe that to get what they want in life, they need to work themselves to exhaustion, fight against circumstances, and obsess over results. But the Stoics understood something that few comprehend. What you chase desperately runs away from you. What you release with confidence comes to you. Epictetus said, "Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one simple rule. Some things are within our control, and others are not." Here's the secret: excessive effort and anxiety only exist when you invest your energy in what you cannot control. Imagine you want to attract more success, more money, or a better relationship. If you focus on the lack, on desperately waiting for results, on frustration because they haven't arrived yet, what message are you sending to the universe and to your own mind? A message of scarcity, of need. You are reinforcing the idea that you don't have it yet, and therefore you continue to push it away. Instead, the Stoics teach us to focus only on what is within our control, our attitude, our actions, and our mindset. Marcus Aurelius summarized it perfectly. Do what you must do with serenity, and let the rest happen as it will. The true power of Stoic manifestation does not lie in obsession but in clarity and confidence. It is not about repeating empty affirmations or waiting for miracles without taking action. It is about aligning your mind with what you desire, acting without anxiety, and accepting the results with calmness. When you stop acting out of need and start acting out of certainty, everything changes. A Stoic does not beg for opportunities, they create them. They do not chase success with desperation. They attract it through character and discipline. They do not depend on external validation. They focus on strengthening their inner world. That's why the secret to effortless manifestation is this: detach from the outcome, trust the process and keep moving forward with determination and tranquility. Instead of asking, when will what I want arrive? Ask yourself, am I acting like the person who deserves what I desire? If the answer is yes, then there is nothing else to do. What is yours is already on its way. This is how the Stoics manifested their destiny effortlessly. Not because they did nothing, but because they did what was necessary and let go of the rest. Do the same, and you will see how life starts to flow in your favor. The power of detachment. Attachment is the root of suffering. The more you cling to something, the more afraid you are of losing it. And that fear makes you its slave. You can see this in every area of life. The one obsessed with money lives in anxiety. The one who fears losing someone becomes insecure and dependent. And the one who clings to a rigid idea closes themselves off to new opportunities. The Stoics understood that true freedom is only achieved when you learn to let go. Epictetus put it clearly, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few needs. When you detach, it doesn't mean you give up on what you want. It means you stop depending on it to be happy. Attachment creates anxiety because it makes you believe you need something external to feel complete. But what happens when you base your peace on things you cannot control? You become vulnerable. If your happiness depends on the approval of others, financial success, or a relationship, then you will always be at risk of losing it. Detachment frees you because it returns power to you. Marcus Aurelius explained it this way: remember that everything you love is ephemeral. Enjoy it while you have it, but be ready to let it go without suffering. It's not about living without emotions or rejecting the good things in life. It's about developing a mindset where you can enjoy without fear, love without possessing, and pursue your goals without desperation. When you practice detachment, everything begins to flow naturally. You stop acting out of fear, make better decisions, and become more attractive to opportunities. A man or woman who needs nothing from anyone, but follows their path with determination and tranquility, becomes magnetic. Detachment is not indifference, it is emotional intelligence. It does not mean you don't care about anything. It means you learn to value things without depending on them. And here's the paradox: when you let go of need, what you desire comes to you, effortlessly. So ask yourself, am I clinging to something that is stealing my peace? If so, it's time to let go. True power is not in what you possess, but in what you can let go of without losing your balance. Abundance mindset. Theos, scarcity mindset. The way you perceive the world defines the reality you experience. If you operate from scarcity, you live in fear, anxiety, and limitation. If you adopt an abundance mindset, you start seeing opportunities everywhere, make better decisions, and live with confidence. The difference is not in your circumstances, but in how you train your mind to interpret them. A scarcity mindset is rooted in fear. It is the belief that there is not enough for everyone, that success is only for a select few, and that if someone wins, someone else must lose. Those who live with this mindset cling to what they have desperately, fear sharing their knowledge or resources, and avoid taking risks because they fear failure. This kind of thinking creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. The person who fears losing everything becomes rigid, reactive, and ends up losing precisely because of their fear. The Stoics understood that true wealth has nothing to do with the amount of money you have, but with how you manage your mind. Epictetus said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This does not mean you should settle for less, but rather that abundance is not about what you possess, it is about how you think. On the other hand, an abundance mindset is based on confidence. It is the belief that there are always more opportunities, that someone else's success does not diminish yours, and that losing something does not mean the end, but a new possibility. A person with an abundance mindset does not fear investing, learning, or sharing knowledge, because they know that growth is limitless. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, receive without pride, let go without attachment. True abundance is not about accumulating things, but knowing that everything you need is already within you. When you operate with this mindset, you become more creative, resilient, and open to new experiences. You do not despair over getting something because you trust that if you continue moving forward, intelligently, everything will come in due time. Look at your own life. Do you make decisions from fear or from confidence? Do you cling to what you have out of fear? Or do you trust that there will always be more? The world responds to the energy you project. If you act as someone who lives in abundance, you will attract more of it. If you act with fear, you will surround yourself with more limitations. The key is not having more. It is thinking differently. Adopt an abundance mindset, and you will see how your reality begins to transform. The power of small and consistent actions. When we think about success, most people imagine a big moment of transformation, a turning point where everything changes overnight. But in reality, true progress does not come from giant leaps, but from small actions repeated over and over again. The Stoics understood that daily discipline is the foundation of all greatness. Epictetus said, "Excellence is not an act, but a habit." This means that success is not about doing something well once, but about building a routine where success becomes inevitable. Think about any area of your life. It is not one single trip to the gym that transforms your body, but the consistency of training day after day. It is not one single book that changes your mindset, but the habit of reading and reflecting continuously. It is not one act of courage that makes you strong, but the repeated decision to act despite fear. Small actions repeated over time create extraordinary results. Most people underestimate the power of small actions because they seek immediate results. But Marcus Aurelius made it clear. The perfection of character is built in daily actions. Your habits define you. If you decide to improve by just 1% today, that small change maintained over time will generate exponential growth. The problem is that many people give up because they do not see quick results. They become frustrated and quit, not realizing that real progress is invisible at first. It is like planting a seed. You do not see anything in the first few days, but if you keep watering it, over time, it grows into something enormous. Here is the key. Trust the process. Do not focus on big results. Just focus on doing the right thing every day. If you write 1 page a day, in a year, you will have a book. If you save a small amount of money with discipline, in a few years, you will have a great investment. Success is not an event. It is an accumulation of consistent actions. So ask yourself, what small action can I repeat today that over time will lead me to the life I want? Start small but do it every day. Consistency always wins over intensity without direction. The importance of resilience and patience in life. You cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond. Resilience and patience are the weapons of the strong, the tools that allow you to keep going when others give up. The Stoics understood this perfectly. Epictetus said, "Do not seek for things to happen as you wish, but wish for them to happen as they do, and you will be happy." Here lies the key to resilience, accepting reality as it is, without resisting or complaining, and finding the best way to move forward. Resilience does not mean avoiding pain or difficulty, but learning to use them as fuel for growth. Every challenge is an opportunity to strengthen your character, to prove to yourself that you are stronger than you thought. Marcus Aurelius put it clearly, "What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, problems are not there to stop you, but to teach you to be stronger. But resilience alone is not enough if it is not combined with patience. We live in a world where we want immediate results, but everything valuable takes time. Great transformations do not happen overnight. A tree does not grow in a day, and strong mental fortitude is not built with a single act of discipline. Patience allows you to keep moving forward even when the results are not yet visible. Many people give up just before achieving something great because they lack the patience to wait. Seneca reminded us, "Nothing great is created suddenly. Even a grape or a fig needs time to ripen." So how do you develop resilience and patience? First, by stopping resistance to reality and accepting that difficulties are part of the process. Second, by focusing on the long term instead of seeking instant gratification. And third, by remembering that every challenge you face is shaping your character and preparing you for something greater. Ask yourself, am I letting obstacles defeat me, or am I using them as training? Resilience allows you to withstand the storm, and patience ensures you keep moving until the storm passes. If you master these two virtues, nothing can stop you. Free yourself from the fear of failure. The fear of failure paralyzes millions of people. It's what stops you from taking action, from chasing your dreams, and from becoming the person you want to be. But here's the truth that few understand. Failure is not the enemy, it is the most valuable teacher you can have. The Stoics knew this well. Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you that harms you, but how you interpret it." The problem is not failing, but the story you tell yourself about it. If you see failure as humiliation, you will feel fear. If you see it as a lesson, you will feel empowered. Marcus Aurelius made it clear as well. If you fall 7 times, rise 8. No one who has achieved something great in life has done so without failing. First, failure is an inevitable part of the journey, not an obstacle, but a requirement. Every mistake brings you one step closer to success, as long as you learn from it and keep moving forward. But why do so many people fear failure? Because they confuse their self-worth with their results. They think, if I fail, it means I'm not good enough. But that's false. Your worth does not depend on your achievements, but on your character and your ability to rise again. The fear of failure also comes from the desire for external approval. We worry about what others will think if we fail. But here's the truth: the people who truly matter will respect you more for trying than for staying in your comfort zone. So, how do you free yourself from this fear? First, change your perspective. Don't see failure as a sentence, but as an opportunity to learn. Second, take action. Fear weakens when you act despite it. And third, remember that the Stoics saw control as the key to peace. You cannot control whether you will always succeed, but you can control whether you keep trying. Ask yourself, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Now, understand this: the only real failure is not trying. Everything else is just another step on the path to greatness. Let go of control and trust. One of the biggest mistakes we make is trying to control everything. We want things to happen our way, in our time, and without obstacles. But reality doesn't work like that. The more you try to cling desperately to something, the more you suffer. The key to both peace of mind and success is learning to let go and trust. The Stoics understood this truth. Epictetus said, "Some things are within our control and some are not." If you try to control what is uncontrollable, you will only find frustration. This means your energy should be focused on what depends on you: your attitude, your actions, and your interpretation of life. The rest you must release. Letting go is not giving up. It is accepting. It is understanding that you don't need to force anything, because everything that is meant for you will come at the right time. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "Accept what comes and love it, for it is part of the destiny you have woven." Confidence comes when you realize that every obstacle, every rejection, and every failure has a purpose. But letting go also means freeing yourself from fear, anxiety, and the need for approval. Many people remain stuck because they fear losing something, or because they seek absolute security before taking action. But real security is not found in control. It is found in trusting yourself and in life. Trust does not mean everything will go exactly as you want, but that you will be able to handle any outcome. When you trust, you act without fear, without anxiety, and without that desperate energy that pushes away what you desire. Opportunities, relationships, and achievements flow better when you don't chase them with anxiety, but attract them with calm and determination. So, how do you apply this rule? First, identify what things you are trying to control unsuccessfully, and ask yourself if they really depend on you. Second, take action on what you can control, and stop worrying about what you cannot. And third, develop the certainty that no matter what happens, you will be okay. Life will not always give you what you want, but it will always give you what you need to grow. Ask yourself, am I fighting against the current, or am I allowing life to flow? When you let go of control and trust yourself, life becomes lighter, clearer, and more abundant. The key to a fulfilling life is not absolute control, but trust in the process. When you release the need to cling to specific outcomes, you free your mind from fear and anxiety. The Stoics taught us that we can only master our actions and our attitude, not fate or external circumstances. True strength lies in accepting, adapting, and moving forward without fear. Trust that everything that happens has a purpose, and that every obstacle is an opportunity for growth. When you stop forcing and start flowing, life responds in surprising ways.